Dave Simon and his co-hosts are completing the remaining finishing touches for tonight's episode. If you are watching the replay, you can skip to the 4-minute and 54-second mark to get to Dave's intro. While you are waiting, watching live, take a look at the news and articles about pro wrestling and MMA from The Authority, the Ringside Report Network. Our website is at ringsidereport.net. That's ringsidereport.net.
Please wait. Hold on. Keep waiting. Almost done. 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 Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Please wait. Hold on. Keep waiting. Almost done. 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 Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment. Subscriber is speaking at the moment.
Welcome to today's broadcast from the Ringside Report Network. We are a viewer and listener-supported creative team. We would really appreciate it if you became a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. While you are waiting, watching live, take a look at the news and articles about pro wrestling and MMA, and while there, check out our exclusive merch, including great jiu-jitsu gear from the Ringside Report Network. Our website is at ringsidereport.net. It's ringsidereport.net.
Subscriber is speaking at the moment.
Oh yeah, We got new tag team champions on SmackDown. We're reviewing AEW's Revolution. It's wrestling time. Let's go. Yep. We're here. Johnny's here. It's early. Catching me sleeping here. My goodness.
I think we also lost you, Dave, as well, in terms of your volume.
It's so early, John, is what I was saying. It's so early. We're here early, catching me sleeping on the Switch. My goodness. Wrestling, John. Pro wrestling. How do you like it this week?
Well, I like that we're a bit earlier. I mean, we had SmackDown come on 3 p.m. in the afternoon, which was fantastic. Now, in the U.S., it's ongoing. So if anyone in the U.S. is watching us right now, or hearing us in some capacity, don't watch us right now because we're going to give away a lot of spoilers.
Yeah. Because we already saw SmackDown because it was on Netflix at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern time, which is great. It was live for us. Internationally on Netflix, SmackDown and Raw are live. And I think in the States where they have just Raw on Netflix, Monday's Raw will be live for them too. So they'll be in Brussels, Belgium. I think it's like 1 o'clock on Monday for Raw. So Americans will be able to do what we did and watch a live WWE TV show in the afternoon on Monday. It's very cool. I like that they're in Europe all this month. The rest of the month of March, it's all European TV. Belgium, Scotland, Italy, England, that's where they're at for the rest of the month. And it means we get to see everything in the afternoon, which is pretty sweet.
I think what was pretty sweet is what Lior just wrote right there, saying how in a lag time, like they actually get to watch us earlier, which is fantastic for them. Because we're very late when we come on usually for them.
Yeah, that's it. We get to come on a little bit earlier on a Friday night. We usually come on at 10. We're on a little bit earlier, and for Lior, who's in Atlantic time, it's 11 o'clock when we would start. So that's late. It is late. So I'm happy that we're on a little bit earlier here, John. I'm happy that we're able to watch SmackDown. I kind of watched it evening, afternoon type of thing. I didn't watch it live at 3. I couldn't watch it live, but I watched it a little later. And, I liked that it was done at 6 o'clock. I liked that SmackDown was over at 6, and we could get on now. And SmackDown is going on right now in the States, but it's very nice that they didn't block that out internationally. Like, I remember a time when the WWE, if the TV was on in the States, that's when it would air. They might have been able to air it on other channels like, earlier, but because whatever deal they had with their American broadcaster, they got first run no matter what. But now, the international audience is getting to see SmackDown before the American audience, which, is kind of unheard of. That's unprecedented. When has the international audience ever got a WWE TV show before the American audience? If anything, the international audience has been getting it later, and sometimes weeks later. They never do this.
I think in some areas they actually did, because I remember seeing videos, this is a couple of years ago now, where they would actually have it. You see it, how it would come out. So in some areas that they did, possibly in the UK, I'm guessing, you would have the actual SmackDown. You'd see it, the broadcast. You could find it actually online as well.
Maybe if they were there, they did it live TV. like as a special.
And only SmackDown, not Raw for some reason. I don't know why.
But we're going to get Raw early. We got SmackDown early. Getting SmackDown before the States get SmackDown, it's kind of nuts. That never happens for us. In Canada, to just watch it on TV, you know? Netflix is not quite TV, but you know what I mean.
Well, I think that must be good for you, like, because you actually get to watch it with your whole family. Like, usually they have to go to bed before it even ends. So, I mean, that must be kind of nice.
Well, my daughter's not so interested in SmackDown, and neither is her mother. And my son got WWE 2K25 that came out today, so he wasn't interested in watching SmackDown either. He just wanted to create characters and, play that. So it was just me.
Well, that's too bad, but, maybe one day. And you have less distractions, possibly.
Yeah. Well, a new video game, man. I get it. New WWE game. He's excited about that.
Well, I hope it's good.
Yeah. I almost bought a PS5. I was like, should I get a PS5 for this game? But sticking with the PS4 until GTA 6 comes out and forces my hand.
I hope you give us a review one day of this game. Hopefully you play it yourself. You get to let your son not play for a little bit so you can actually review it for us.
Well, I'll play with him at some point, and he'll beat me. He's very good at it. He's like 7 and already very good at this game and can beat me for real. It's pretty funny. I have to try.
Kids are usually good at games.
Like, I have to try to beat him, Like, I have to really concentrate. But it's fun. It's a really fun game. I like the 24. What I've seen from the 25, it looks cool. I haven't played it, but it looks good. They're good games, the WWE 2K games. I enjoy them. I play them with my son and my brother. He comes over with another controller, and then we got 3 players going. A lot of fun. Really good wrestling game. Really good. Good roster. Nice customization of the matches that you could do. All kinds of different rules, all kinds of different matches. They got even more in this game that I've seen, but I haven't played yet. And the gameplay is really good. Really solid, really fun. I really like it. It's like very much like a classic style wrestling game. Very good. Have you played any of those?
I haven't played since like 2K11, I think.
Wow.
Because I think maybe I played 2K12, but it wasn't as good as 2K11. And I'm like, oh, it's starting to slip. So, because I feel like that's a problem too with those kind of games where it's like a couple of years are pretty good, and then a couple of years are kind of the same thing over and over again, and they have less and less stuff. Eventually, they pick up. So I imagine it's been a couple of years, and they probably pick up now. Hopefully.
Yeah, I got 23, I think, and that was good. I really enjoyed that. And then 24 came out, so we got that at some point. And now 25, I was like, you get the Wyatt 6 if you do a pre-order. And my son was like, pre-order. I was like, all right, why not? It's fun. I enjoy it. They seem to have improved every year. Like, I hadn't played any of the 2K games until 2K23, I think. The last WWE game I played was WWE 13. So it must have not have been a 2K game you're talking about, because WWE 13 was the last game, and you're saying, what, 2011?
Yeah, I think it was 11 or something like that.
Yeah, so it was WWE 11 or SmackDown versus Raw 2011 or something. This is a totally different... it's 2K. It's different, isn't it?
Yeah. It should be a bit different. Like, SmackDown Raw, I think, ended in, I think, like 2010 or something like that. That was the last SmackDown versus Raw, and then they switched.
They called it WWE with the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the last wrestling game I really played before WWE 2K23 was WWE 13. And then I kind of just didn't play any of them for 10 years. And then got the 23 because my son wanted it, and I was interested because I had a PS4, and I was like, oh, yeah, I could get this game. So I got that, and I was like, pretty good. And then we got all of them since. I don't really play anything else on the PS4. I have GTA. I have Red Dead Redemption. And I have the wrestling games. I have like all the Switch games, but I have like nothing on the PS4. It's good though.
Well, Doug agrees with you. He says it's pretty good.
He says 2K25 is pretty good. My boys both like it. Great on PS5. What's up, Doug? Doug dropping a super chat saying use this super chat and take AJ out for a green beer on Monday. Not likely. I'm not going to go anywhere near a beer establishment, especially not on St. Patrick's Day. That sounds like way too many people crowding around being drunk for me. It's not my kind of scene.
Well, another thing, it's not a holiday for you. Like maybe it is for some people to decide that, they're just not going to go to work. But you,
I got to work too.
Yeah. Well,
also, I'm just not. I don't know. It's not for me. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing all that. You know. AJ can do it though. I can, buy him one. Although AJ owes me like all kinds of money. I just remembered. AJ owes me like $120 or something.
Okay, wow. Something's been going down, it seems. Wow, okay. So it's a lot.
Well, I just bought tickets for several events that he hasn't paid for. You know all these jiu-jitsu shows that we go to? Of course, I have to buy the tickets because AJ doesn't know how, and Fred wants me to be responsible. And then AJ never pays me. And he keeps saying he's going to pay me, but the thing is, this guy, he doesn't have, he doesn't know how to do internet online. Like, he doesn't do e-transfers. He doesn't know how. This guy goes to the bank to get money. I don't even think he has an ATM card. I think he has one of the little booklets. This guy is so old-timey and old from a different era. He goes to the bank to do his banking, which doesn't even make sense to me. I don't even know what people do in a bank. He, writes checks, I think. He's written me a check before. I'm like, what is this piece of paper? This isn't money. This isn't a what is this? You know? I was baffled at this olden technology. It's like, what is this old-timey nonsense you're doing to me? And then, I think he uses it as an excuse to, not pay people back. It's ridiculous. Leor says, ask AJ to write you a check. I mean, that is what he does. It's just bizarre behavior. He doesn't know how to e-transfer. There's so many ways to send money on the internet, you know? So many different apps and stuff where you can just send money. I don't use any of them, obviously. I'm not a teenager or whatever they do. I don't do Venmos or any of those. I don't know how to do that. Cash apps. I don't know that. I don't know from that age, Johnny. I don't know about that. I've heard about it, but I don't know how to do it, and I've never done it. And I'm not interested in doing
PayPal.
it. What?
You know PayPal. You've heard of that.
I use the PayPal. I've used PayPal. Yeah, he could PayPal. I don't know if you can. You send money. Yeah, I guess you can send money to people on PayPal directly, but PayPal takes a cut. No, e-transfer is just send me money. No, e-transfer is easy.
E-transfer is the best way to do it, but I mean, if you can't figure that out,
how can you not figure that out?
It can be complicated because you have to work it out with your bank account, right? Like in your bank.
Oh, so, apparently Venmo is just American Interact, which is Interact. What is it? Interact?
Yeah, it's not available in the Canada, I think.
Okay. We don't have no Venmo. I mean, it's just things I've heard of. It's not things I know about or have even done this much research to figure out what the hell they are, because who cares? You know what I mean? Anyways, he owes me money. Why am I talking about AJ owing me money?
Oh, it's okay. But people owe you stuff. You should always call them out. I agree with that. That's no problem with that.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's fun to call out AJ. People should Like, because he was saying I could buy him a beer, and I'm like, I'm not buying him nothing. He owes me big time. AJ. That's what you get, AJ. Oh, man. What a guy. He'll pay me eventually. I know where he lives.
Right.
Yeah, SmackDown today, it was early. And it wasn't just early. It was in early because it was in Spain, in Barcelona.
Great crowd.
Say it, John.
Fantastic. Barcelona, Spain?
You didn't say it right.
Well, I have to say it like you.
Barcelona. That's how they say it.
What?
Some of the wrestlers were saying it like that, too. It was funny. I like it. Barcelona.
Some were like speaking Spanish, some weren't speaking Spanish, and then they were like,
Yeah.
Nick Aldis was like that too, wasn't he? He's like, I don't know what you were talking about. But were you speaking Spanish? Like, but you only know that line in Spanish that you said like when you came out, and that's it. Like,
Yeah. Not a lot of the wrestlers seem to be speaking fluent Spanish. Where's like how come they didn't put Zelina Vega out there? Does she not speak Spanish?
well, she did a promo right against Chelsea Green, like she was there.
Yeah,
Damian
backstage,
Priest
and
was-
she didn't speak Spanish.
Yeah, that was weird. It's true.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, she was there. They couldn't have done something with her in front of the people speaking Spanish. Instead, they had B-Fab do this, like, Spanish promo thing, walk into her match with Charlotte Flair. And, like, I've heard people speak Spanish. I speak un poco de español. And, like, B-Fab Spanish was not great. And Wade Barrett told us that B-Fab grew up fighting on the streets of Medellin, Colombia. And I thought, fucking no way she did that. Because if she did, her Spanish would be better than it is. I was confused by that whole thing. What do you mean she grew up fighting on the streets of Colombia? What? After that Spanish, I was like, how is that possible? Was she like 3 years old fighting, and that's why her Spanish is like kind of lost at this point? Because she spoke with like a pretty heavy American accent. Pinche gringo. You know?
But I think her being from Colombia might be accurate, because I'm not mistaken, because Drew Onyx went to go train her. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went to Colombia to do that. So
what's with the Spanish now?
rusty, possibly. Like,
But her English seems like very American.
yeah, well, I think she's probably more that than Spanish, I'm guessing. Like,
Yeah, is she American or like
You're gonna look her
where
up
is she
now?
from, Bafab? She's American
I-
from Canton, Ohio. So what is this
there you go.
growing up in the streets of Medellin, Colombia? ¿Qué pasó?
I'm sure if you dig deep enough, I'm sure it's out there.
Maybe she worked some indies in Colombia at some point before WWE? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how you found it, but I found, regardless of her promo, Charlotte was clearly the favorite in this match. The fans were clearly behind Charlotte. Even though Charlotte was trying to be a heel and gave the whole, like, crotch chop, like, suck it thing to the crowd, they loved it.
Oh,
they
they
know
were
what that
booing
is.
Charlotte. They were cheering for B-Fab.
Oh, I disagree with that. They were cheering Charlotte, I found.
Maybe you didn't understand the Spanish boos.
I mean, there were some boos, but I found she made them into cheers, too, though, especially when she did the DX thing.
I don't
They were
know. I
happy
thought
with
they
that.
were. I thought they had turned on Charlotte. I like the Charlotte chants. I like the chants from the Spanish people with like say in English, but like with an accent. Chuti surf it. Chuti surf it. I was like, what is it? What are they saying? It was nice. I enjoyed it. I liked
was, like,
how
throughout
into
the
it they
night.
were. They were a very hype crowd.
It was throughout the night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And Yeah, they were loud. They actually helped, I think, especially for matches that weren't exactly the best matches. They were still into those matches, so they actually made you interested in the matches because, like, wow, like there's a lot of energy here. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Priest against Nakamura, but crowd was into it.
Yeah, I didn't love that either. And I
Crowd
really
loved
didn't
it.
love that it ended with Drew McIntyre just attacking Damian Priest after he hit his finisher. It was like, man, we watch all this wrestling. I hate when they do that. When they have a really long match that ends in a DQ obvious finish. It's just like, come on, why did I sit through 15, 20 minutes of that match? It was pointless wrestling that led to nothing. They need to not do that. If you're going to have a long match, you need to give it a finish. And if you're going to do a DQ screwy finish, it needs to be way shorter. Because otherwise, it's just wasting my time. It's just practice.
But you didn't find that like every match they did that? Like I felt like especially the first three. I don't know about afterwards. I don't think Randy got it, but yeah, maybe Randy got a little bit actually because Kevin came. But almost every match that ended, there was like a brawl or something afterwards.
Yep. Yeah.
It was too much.
Every match had like some post-match nonsense. We had Braun Strowman, Big Jim, and LA Knight beating Tommy Tonga, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu. It was a 6-man tag team match to open up the show, playa. And Braun Strowman won it, hitting Tommy Tonga with the power slam for the pin. And then immediately Solo hits the Samoan spike on Braun. And then everybody's brawling. And then Jacob Fatu and Braun are in the ring together. And Fatu hits like several moonsaults. He hit 2 moonsaults. And then he stood there and he got such a huge pop from the crowd that you could see him go, I'm going to do it again. And then he went and he did it again because he told Braun he was going to do another moonsault. That was awful. Did they forget they were on camera tonight? Like, Big Jim comes out. He challenged LA Knight to the U.S. tag titles at WrestleMania. LA Knight is the U.S. champion. There are no U.S. tag titles. What was Big Jim talking about? He's just so used to being in a tag team, he couldn't fathom challenging somebody for a singles belt. It was bizarre. And then Solo Sikoa came out and just stumbled over his promo, couldn't get any of his words out. You're the biggest fit family fit. It's like they knew that it almost didn't count because it was just being shown live for the international audience and it was going to get edited out for the States. So whatever mistakes they made, they just kind of shook off. Like Solo was like, he just kind of restarted his promo because he messed up. It was bizarre.
I thought he dropped an F-bomb almost, it looked like. I think that's what it sounded like. It was going to come out, and then he like caught himself and then like had to restart because he obviously can't say that no matter where you are.
Solo and Big Jim had rough nights on the mic there to start the show. And then you had Jacob Fatu in the middle of the ring, camera like dead on him. Just, I'm going to do it again. You could hear him. You could see his lips moving like it wasn't even hiding it. I'm going to do another one. And then he just goes to the corner and does another one. It's like, do you even care at all about what's going on here? Are you trying to hide any of it anymore?
I thought you'd be more upset with what happened at the end of it all. That was probably the worst part of it, actually.
What happened?
So, like, Jacob goes, like, they leave, they go to the entranceway, and then he runs all the way back.
Yeah.
To, like, charge at Braun and kind of missed him and just went through the barricade himself.
Yeah.
And Braun just stumbled on afterwards.
Yeah. It was a sloppy show. I mean, Tiffy did 2 dives on security. Charlotte was there. You know?
Yeah.
And Charlotte was near the security. And Tiffy dives, and the security take all of Tiffy. Charlotte doesn't get touched, But Charlotte just falls down with them, this giant pile of humanity. And she kind of hesitated. Like, Tiffy did a dive. So Charlotte beats B-Fab, obviously, with the figure 8. And then she holds the figure 8. Tiffy comes out. They start brawling, okay? And then there's a bunch of security separating them because, of course. And then Tiffy goes to the top rope while Charlotte's on the floor, and Tiffy does a rolling senton, right? And she hits nothing but security, and Charlotte is like with the pile of security, but not really. Okay? Am I getting called out on the chat? What is this?
Well, worry about that first. Finish the Tiffy story.
That's
first.
ridiculous. Anyways, so Tiffy does the dive. Charlotte doesn't get touched, and she kind of hesitates, like, "Oh, I didn't get touched," but and then she goes down. It looked terrible, and they double down on it because after that, we see them continue to brawl, and Tiffy goes up on top of the video board, and she does a dive again on a pile of men. Doesn't touch Charlotte again because Charlotte's on the end, not in the middle. And then Charlotte bumps for no reason. They did it twice in the same segment. It looked awful. The crowd popped for it because they like to see Tiffy flying through the air. It's cool. It's fun. But what are we doing? What is this? I get the WWE is really good at making moments and the big production and the big crowd and the overpriced tickets and all of the nonsense, but I like wrestling. You know? The WWE tells us that pro wrestling is all about making moments, maybe because that's all they're good at. Because really, when you watch this stuff, you go, well, what the hell is that? It didn't come close. It's just, you see through everybody's work. It doesn't feel believable. There's no heat to speak of. It's really watered down stuff. And they just do stuff like this where Tiffy does a dive and hits a bunch of security and Charlotte's near them, so she falls. And they get away with it so often because they just have normalized it because it's all they do. That people just go, oh yeah, whatever. Can't wait for Tiffy and Charlotte at Mania. And you go, okay, well, yeah, that'll probably be good. But in the meantime, what the hell are they giving us here? It's just embarrassing.
I feel the ideas were good, like you said. Like, I mean, what they're trying to build up to, that's fine. It's just the execution was a little poor. And it feels like, for whatever reason, whenever they go to the UK, this is a big reason why I think they edit it, or a lot of their stuff. That
they're in Spain.
Sometimes they, well, they're in Spain. But when they go, like, make
Spain,
these
UK,
trips,
same
like,
thing.
when they make these trips, like to the
Europe.
far off.
Europe,
yes.
John.
Like,
say Europe.
when they go there,
Why
like,
won't you say Europe?
I said Europe like 3 times. You didn't hear me.
All right.
So when they do these trips, you see it, like the wrestling. Sometimes it's a little sloppy. I don't know if it's the travel that's tough or something, or maybe it's the nerves. I mean, the building's loud, and they just sometimes they're a little bit off. Sometimes maybe it's the ring too. I mean, it's not the ring that's in the States, right? It's the ring that's just there. Maybe it's not as good for whatever reason. And I don't know about you. Could you tell, like, the extras they had there? Like, they were off-putting. Like, the weird looks on their face. Like, I get it, you're trying to sell and all that, but a lot of them were overselling. Like, their faces were so ridiculous that it was taking me out of the moment, actually. It was that bad. So I feel a lot was working against them here. And you're not wrong in the sense that I think for most of it, they're just kind of getting away with it, where they're getting great reactions. So if it's not the greatest in terms of execution, they can get away with it.
Yeah. Because it's big reactions and it's big stars and, it's good production and everybody looks cool. So it works. It's just when you watch it, sometimes, as a person that watches a lot of wrestling and has for many years, you go, oh, this is just nonsense. She didn't get touched. She obviously didn't get touched. How is nobody seeing this? How is nobody annoyed by this? And Ryan Katz
really
pointing out the
goes-
Penelope Ford chair shot on Willow Nightingale was really weak on Dynamite this week. And yeah, it was. But sometimes you get stuff like that in AEW. It's just part of the deal. But you also get some hard hitting action, which is nice. Say what you want about AEW, and they have a lot of flaws, but the work is really good in the ring. It's really high-level professional wrestling. That pay-per-view they did on Sunday was incredible. So good.
You want to talk about that or finish SmackDown?
Nah, let's stick to SmackDown. Let's stick to SmackDown. Finish up the down. But you're right, John. It was just all post-match stuff. The six-man had a post-match thing. The Charlotte Flair had a post-match thing with Tiffy Time. We had Damian Priest and Shinsuke with Drew McIntyre in a post-match deal. McIntyre attacking Priest. But then Shinsuke is kind of involved in that too. Is that like a triple threat at Mania? I think it's just one-on-one Priest-Drew. I don't see how Shinsuke figures into it.
No, I think Shinsuke was just kind of there because they had him. So, keep him around. I mean, he's relevant for now. So, and it kind of helps Priest in a sense. It gave him, he looked good in that, regardless of the whole Drew McIntyre interference.
Yeah. Randy Orton beat Carmelo Hayes because obviously it's nice to see Randy wrestle a match on SmackDown. Doesn't happen often.
Well, I mean, again, that's just for the reactions, really. Randy had a simple match, but him just coming out is one of the greatest reactions you're going to get all night. I mean, I'm surprised that wasn't the main event, to be honest, but because of what happened in the main event, I get it.
Mm-hmm. But that match, too, Randy beats Carmelo Hayes, hits him with the RKO, and then goes to show respect to him after, but Carmelo pushes him away, so Randy hits him with another RKO, sets up to punt him, and then Kevin Owens pulls Carmelo out of the ring to save him, which enrages Randy, and then Randy goes after Kevin, and they kind of fight a bit, and then Kevin pushed Randy kind of into the post and ran away. So that match had a post-match deal. Kevin and Randy obviously going to wrestle at Mania. I don't think they've announced it yet, but you figure they will, right? What else are they going to do?
I'm surprised they haven't announced it, to be honest. I would have thought they would have by now.
Yeah. Gunther and Axiom didn't have any post-match deal. Didn't really need it. Although Gunther did do a promo with Big Jim after the match backstage. So...
yeah, but I mean, kind of no physicality at least. So
yeah, I didn't know Axiom was from Spain, so they loved him there. Very happy to see Axiom, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions.
Well, because I think when it was WWE NXT UK, he had the gimmick of the A Kid, I think.
Okay, and
that was kind of his big thing, that he was from Spain. So. I mean, he is from Spain, so they kind of put that over a lot back then. And he mentioned he was a kid, right? If I'm not mistaken, in the promo. So
yeah, I didn't watch NXT UK.
I remember the name. I remember him standing out a little bit.
I do remember the name, and I remember Gunther was a champion there for a long time too. So they probably have wrestled before, right?
Yeah, it felt like they were kind of familiar with each other, the way they wrestled. Yeah.
Yeah, made sense to have that match on SmackDown. It was all right. And then the Street Profits beat the DIY to become the new WWE Tag Team Champions. These tag team belts are really bouncing around. They've gone from DIY to Motor City Machine Guns, back to DIY, and now to the Street Profits. And very soon, coming up, like, gotta be soon, to Pretty Deadly. Gotta be.
Well, next week it's in London, right?
Next week's in Italy. The week after, they're in London.
So there you go. It won't be next week. It'll be the week after they get the title shot.
But will they get the title in London?
I mean, they keep flipping these titles all the time. It's not impossible. I actually think it'd be better if they had the shot at WrestleMania, to be honest.
And won it at Mania?
But if they have it early, I don't know if it's going to happen then. So,
I want to see Pretty Deadly win those tag team titles. Roman Reigns will be on SmackDown next week. Roman Reigns. What?
Heyman got booed because he mentioned that Roman would be on SmackDown next week, and the crowd got mad.
Well, they wanted Roman
which is
tonight.
Smart. Like, of course. Like, why would you ever say like next week I'll be here? Like, of course people get mad. Like, you should be mad.
Who's Heyman with? Roman or Punk?
Wow, I think he's gonna be with Roman, but they'll play that up with like, is that a 3-way? They haven't made that official yet, right? So
no. So CM Punk wrestled Seth Rollins on Raw in a steel cage, and the door was open, and Roman pulled Seth out of the cage to help Seth win, and then beat Seth up. And then Roman saw that Punk was in the cage with Paul Heyman getting, I don't know, what he was consoling him. Like, what the hell was going on there? It was just like Punk just looked sad, and Heyman was just like, it's okay. Like, it was weird. And then Roman came in. He didn't like that for some reason. He got jealous because only he can have Paul Heyman. He wants Paul Heyman all to himself. And then he attacked CM Punk and hit him with the spear and everything. And, it looks like it'll be Roman, Seth, Punk, which we've been talking about for several weeks now. It seems like it's a done deal. The only people that don't know it is WWE. I mean, they do know it. They're just pretending like they don't. Because everybody else is like, yeah, can we just get to where you say it's the match already? Because we kind of know. It's pretty obvious at this point. Anyways, they're going to do that. The Punk-Seth cage match was pretty good on Raw as far as Raw matches go. People are comparing it as they have to because, there was a cage match the night before in AEW that was amazing between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, and people are like, oh, the Punk match was better or the Will Ospreay match was better. I think they were both good, but I preferred the Ospreay match because just, Ospreay and Fletcher athletically can do way more and also creatively are allowed to do way more in their cage match than Punk and Seth. They're given more leeway. It's a different style. And I think Ospreay is kind of hard to top. It's hard to be better than Will Ospreay in 2025 or in 2024 or in 2023 and possibly 2026 and 2027. Like Will Ospreay, move for move, hold for hold in the ring is one of the best in the world, if not the best, and it's really hard to follow him. Like Punk and Seth were put in a tough spot because people were going to compare their cage match to the cage match they saw the night before in AEW, if they saw that. And it's really hard to follow Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, who's become quite a talent in his own right. I think Seth and Punk had a fine match, but if you'd ask me which one I like better, I would say Ospreay's match, because Ospreay pretty much has the best matches. I don't think he had the best match on the pay-per-view, but he has the best matches like in general. He's just great. He has great matches.
I'm surprised you didn't think that was the best match on the pay-per-view. I mean, we'll get into that afterwards. to me, that's very surprising you said that. But I mean, we talked about this off air a little bit. I feel it's unfair to compare the both of them because one's a pay-per-view match, one's a TV match.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of how you structure those matches, it's totally different. The pacing, totally different. And like you said already, like what you're able to do, like totally different pay-per-view, totally different television. I don't think it's fair to compare just because they're both the same style of match, stipulation match. That you compare them, like I don't think it's fair to any of the guys involved.
People are going to do it, though.
Oh,
cage match to cage match. Back-to-back nights, you see a cage match. I mean, it's the natural thing to do.
I get it, but again, like you saw it, like the way that they set the whole thing up, like it's totally different how it was done.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: I'm very like, given the way the cage match was at Revolution, I think it was an injustice that it didn't end the show, because really, you couldn't top that. That was as high as it got, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it
that,
was very good.
That should have been the main event. And I get the world title match and everything, what they did and the finish and all that, but still, the cage match, like you just couldn't top that.
You can't main event a pay-per-view with Kyle Fletcher right now. It's not over enough.
But the way that match was done, like, I again, like, how it's unfair, I think, to Moxley and Cope that they had to go on after that. I mean, everything was done.
That's what I'm saying. You can't follow Will Ospreay. You can't follow him. Bruv. Number one, bruv.
Well, we saw Dynamite. Like, he's probably going to be in the world title picture very soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about AEW and the whole pay-per-view here in a minute. Cody Rhodes going after John Cena. He'll see him Monday night on Raw. Cody and Cena will be in the same building on Monday, so that'll be interesting. Cena will speak, possibly. Yeah. That'll be good.
I didn't think Cody's promo was anything special on Raw. And SmackDown, he just beat up The Miz, saying that I only want to talk to Cena. So it's like, okay, fine. That's actually not bad, to be honest. I don't want to hear you talk anyway, so let's just get this done. But Cena's only there for like 3 shows. Like, I think the next 2 Raws and a SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, up to Mania, he's not there.
At all?
Like, as right now, he's only scheduled for 3 shows. So,
well, make him count.
I get. Well, I don't know about you. It's going to be a lot of video package every week. I think that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, of what we're going to see when he's there. They're just going to replay that over and over. So, I like Cody's promo on Raw though, telling Cena, you did what you thought was best for business, but you're not best for business anymore. I am. I'm the captain now. Kind of fall in line, like, this is my house now. This is not you. Look at the business we're doing. We weren't doing this business when you were on top. Thought it was a good promo. You didn't like it?
I didn't mind him, but the fact that he's just saying it to thin air, that was the problem. Like, that's cool to say, but say it to Cena. The fact that you just throw it out there and there's no response back, it feels kind of hollow, actually.
Well, he's calling Cena out. He's saying, show up.
Yeah, well, he's going to show up. I mean, again, I liked it more on tonight, where he's just like, what I have to say, I'll say to Cena. I have to say to The Miz, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought we were going to have a whole promo with Miz talking and everything. I was like, come on. And then he just hits a crossroads on Miz, and he's like, I want John Cena. I was like, all right, good. That was it. Quick. Easy. So I like that promo on Raw. You know what promo I didn't like on Raw, John? The Logan Paul promo.
I can understand why you wouldn't like that promo.
I mean, yuck. Gross, man. Logan Paul comes out and starts running down the city of New York and stuff, and AJ Styles, and then he goes, oh, there's Andrew Schultz, comedian. And I'm like, I mean, I guess he has comedy specials on Netflix, but I wouldn't call him like a comedian. I'd call him like a podcaster and just annoying guy overall. I don't really like him so much.
Hey, Dave and Johnny, if I
No,
am being
I don't
honest,
want to. No,
I was the first one in the entire
get
world
this guy out of
to
here.
say that
Shut
Logan
up.
Paul is something special.
Shut the fuck
Mark
up.
my words.
You suck. Fuck that guy. AI AJ, that motherfucker. Anyways, fucking, Andrew Schultz and Logan Paul. And then Andrew Schultz is supposed to be the baby face. Like, we're supposed to cheer for Andrew Schultz because he's like, oh, New York is great. I'm from here. And I'm not here to see you, Logan Paul. I'm here to see CM Punk and Seth Rollins. And it's like, all right, dude. And then Logan, like, brings him over the barricade and brings him in the ring. And then AJ Styles saves him. I'm like, okay. I don't know. It's like, I think you guys are all drinking the same Kool-Aid together backstage, so I don't really believe that you guys have any heat. I think you're all three kind of in the same boat, if you know what I mean.
Well, again, like we talked about this off air, it's more just pandering to the whole, well, this is what we do for celebrities. Like, you should show up because look what happened to you. You can be front row and you can be involved in something. It's more of them just kind of pandering to that kind of crowd, I guess.
Yeah. I see this guy, Rogue Strummer,
Oh, he's calling
who's
you out?
been like talking mad shit in the chat like all night, saying, oh, are you a purple belt at jiu-jitsu? Approve it. I was like, I'm just ignoring his dumb comments. But then he goes, Dave Simon, why do you find Andrew Schultz he misspelled annoying. You can't even spell annoying. Because he is more famous than you? Yeah, I find anybody that's more famous than me, I find annoying. That's a good observation there. That makes sense. Like, what? What kind of comment is that to even? You think everybody that first of all, I don't give a shit for anybody to know me. I'd prefer if they didn't. I just like to talk to Johnny, and I feel like some people like it, so we do it, okay? First of all. Second of all, if I found people annoying, everybody that was more famous than me annoying, it'd be like everybody on the internet and the TV and everything. You know what I mean? I like some famous people. I don't find CM Punk annoying. I find him highly entertaining. Bryan Danielson, too. More people know Bryan Danielson than me. I find him fantastic. He's the best. I love him. Pretty Deadly. I mean, way more famous than I am. They're fucking in WWE. And I love those guys. So, no. I think Andrew Schultz sucks for many reasons. I don't like his politics. I don't like the way he speaks. I don't like the way he acts. I don't like the shit he said about Kendrick Lamar. I think he's kind of a punk bitch, to be fair to him. That's kind of putting it nicely. So I don't like him for many reasons. Okay? Yes, yeah, and it has nothing to do with him being famous. I don't like that whole Joe Rogan circle of comedy for the most part. I find them, in general, not funny. Especially like their ringleader, Joe Rogan. I find him especially not funny. And at this point, just kind of distasteful. I used to kind of like him, and now I'm like, yeah, I kind of dislike him. It's hard to defend some people at a certain point. You go, nah, maybe they're just bad. Maybe they're just bad guys saying dumb shit constantly. So, Andrew Schultz kind of falls into that whole thing. And so does Logan Paul. You know, they kind of fall in the same trap of dumb guys thinking they're smart. And then AJ Styles shows up, you know.
Helps him.
Whose famous quote is, "I'm not saying I'm a flat earther. I'm just saying there's some things you might not understand. Some things you can't handle. And then Bryan Danielson sitting next to him just laughing his ass off. Hey, AJ, why don't you tell us about how you think the earth is flat? AJ's like, I'm not saying. Yeah, AJ's a flat earther. I'm not a flat earther. I'm just saying. You know? I bet you Andrew Schultz has some questions about whether the earth is flat or not. I mean, he probably, he thinks it's round, but, maybe. I've heard some things. I saw a thing on YouTube that made me think maybe it's not. I was like, oh, okay. You fucking moron. Just stupid people, you know? That's the problem with the internet, John. Like, everybody has an opinion and they, like, say it, and then other people who are also stupid go, well, I think that's right. You go, no, you're all just dumb. You're all just dumb guys.
I feel like a lot of this frustration goes with AJ. I think not just AJ Styles, the AJ we know. I think it seems like a lot of that anger is coming out right now. A lot of venting, it seems, and it's understandable because like he likes that certain type of comedy, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's fucking lowbrow, and I don't stand for it, and I don't like it, and I don't want to be in a world where I'm watching WWE and Andrew Schultz is supposed to be the babyface getting saved by AJ Styles by the evil Logan Paul. It's like, nah. Skip. That's kind of the world of WWE these days. And like the front row is all like kind of celebrities and, suits, executives and stuff. Awful. I don't like it.
I didn't mind Macaulay Culkin. I got no problem with Macaulay Culkin. That's fine. He's been like a long time like WWE fan. Like when he was a kid, he was at the shows.
Yeah, I like Macaulay Culkin. I got no problem with him at the show. I don't know what his opinions are. He doesn't say them. I don't know what they are. I don't need to know what they are. He was in Home Alone. His brother was in Succession. They're both at wrestling shows. They've been there for years and years. I think Macaulay Culkin wrestled a match or two.
He was involved in something. I forget if he actually wrestled. But he was involved in like a segment or something. Like was there like a WrestleMania he did something like?
Probably. He's been around pro wrestling forever. He's obviously a huge fan. Seems great. Who doesn't love Macaulay Culkin? Right?
Well, there's some celebrities that are fine.
Yeah. No one's got problems with Macaulay Culkin. No one goes, that guy. What's his problem? Right? I think he's genuinely loved by everybody. I don't think anybody's got problems with him. Macaulay Culkin for president?
I think he may have had problems in the past, though.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I mean, who hasn't? Who hasn't had some problems?
No,
the demons.
No one's perfect. But I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of celebrities, though, like I think he's fine for wrestling. I think Adam Sandler is fine for wrestling. There's a bunch of them.
Jon Stewart, great in wrestling.
There you go.
I need more Kevin Hart in wrestling. Can The Rock arrange that? He was very good. Brief appearance as a guest celebrity on Raw one time. Excellent. One of the best guest commentary spots from a celebrity I'd ever heard. So good. Such great reactions. Come on, The Rock can arrange that. I mean, Kevin Hart is very busy.
Travis Scott seems to be their guy right now, so
yeah,
he's a backup.
He's not much of a talker or a wrestler. Ask Cody's face. You know? Although that giant black eye was mostly gone tonight, right? I didn't see a mark on his face.
That's good makeup for you. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure it was rough, but it wasn't as bad as they made it out to be.
Yeah, but still, Travis Scott is not going to be very useful in pro wrestling, I don't think. He's not Bad Bunny. Like, he's not
I think he wants to be, though.
Maybe. There's something about him. Like, I like his music, but he's not particularly charismatic. You know? Like, he's just doesn't have, like, a big presence. I've seen him perform, and it was good. It was a good show, but there was, like, a lot behind it. It was, like, a big production. He had, like, a roller coaster going, and the Bell Center. It was crazy. He had a whole thing going.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Astro World. It was very cool. It was a lot of fun. But he was just kind of part of the whole experience. Like, he was just the guy singing the songs. It was weird. He's good. He's talented. He's very talented. But, like, he doesn't really talk a lot. He's not, like, a talker, you know? I don't know. Like, I don't see him being an impact player in wrestling in any kind of way. It's cool to have him around, but like, Drake would be way better because he can talk, you know? He's got charisma. He's got a presence. Travis Scott doesn't have that same presence. He's cool. He's very cool, you know? I think he's still cool. I don't know. He appears cool to me. I think he's pretty cool. He's got the shoes that are popular and hard to buy, you know? The fancy guy.
But is Drake still cool? Because he was front row at Elimination Chamber and they didn't highlight him at all.
Because they told him, he said not to. He said no.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude. Drake is there with Lil Yachty, and you're not going to say that they're there. They name the most no-name celebrities you've ever seen in your life. How many no-name celebrities did they show us on Raw and MSG? Here's a guy who's like the third lead on this Netflix show that's coming in 3 months. Like, okay, who? Why are we taking time out of the wrestling show for this guy? What are we doing here? I'm not watching this show for this guy. So they would show Drake and Lil Yachty if they were allowed to, but Drake and Lil Yachty said, no, don't do that. We're good. They were there, front row at Elimination Chamber, but they don't want to be shown on camera. They don't need that.
No, well, like you just said, like, yeah, we don't really need that. And yeah, it's better not to, because what does it lead to? Not much of anything. Just, wow, they show up. That's kind of eats up some time that we don't really need to have on a pay-per-view that's already long enough.
Yeah, and we know they were there, so, everybody knows they were there. People took pictures of them. It got out.
One more thing, by the way.
Yeah.
There's they put that graphic out about Charlotte and her title wins. I don't know if you caught that or not.
No.
So they said that she's won, I believe, 6 Raw championships, right? Because it was the Raw women's title back then.
Okay.
I think 7 SmackDown championships, right?
Okay.
And 2 NXT championship wins. And they're saying she's a 14-time world champion.
Okay.
Now, that could be very misleading. When I saw that, I'm like, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't understand what the heck is going on here, but they're not counting the NXT title reigns in terms of world championships.
Okay. So,
and for whatever reason,
what's NXT?
In this graphic, NXT is its own little thing, not a world championship consideration whatsoever.
It's not part of the world. It's NXT.
But it's weird because in this graphic, they mentioned those championship wins, SmackDown, Raw, but they didn't include her Diva Championship win, which they include for her world title wins. Remember, she was like the last ever Divas champion.
Yeah.
And that counts as a world title. So if you saw that graphic, and we're kind of confused, I'm just kind of explaining how that all works.
So how many title wins does she have?
So she's got 14. They're considering it 14 world title wins.
Okay.
And the NXT title wins don't count.
That's fine by me, John. I don't really care. How is this an issue?
All right.
I'm struggling to understand what the problem is.
If you saw the graphic, it's kind of misleading, no?
Because they showed you a bunch of titles, and if you counted them up, it would be more.
They didn't include the Diva title win, which is one of the world title wins. But they include the NXT one, which they don't count. So it's very misleading.
What do you mean they don't count?
Because she's a 14-time world champion, right?
Okay.
So
this is like Steiner math, man. I'm not understanding it. I can't do it.
It's not Steiner math at all.
I can't do it.
It's not Steiner math.
You have 33 and a third chance of explaining this to me where I understand it, John. Okay?
I'm just saying they missed out on including the Diva title win, which counts for a world title win. That's it. That's all they forgot to put in that graphic. Because they said she's a 14-time world champion, but they didn't include that for whatever reason, which is ridiculous. They include her women's tag title wins. Because I think she was with Asuka, I think, right? As a women's tag. And did she win with Becky too, possibly?
How does that count as a world title if tag titles?
That doesn't count as a world title. Again, like, that doesn't count. And the NXT titles, they don't count.
What does count? What counts anymore?
Just the Raw, SmackDown Divas. That's it. And I guess now it would be the first time she'd ever be the women's world champion, right? She's never won the... Actually, no, it's WWE Women's Champion. The world's champion is on Raw.
They got a lot of belts in this company.
They got a few. And there'll be like how many title changes at WrestleMania? Like 10? 12?
Yeah, there'll be a lot, right?
Last year was like 7 or 8 title wins.
Over the 2 days, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, still. Yeah, that's when they make a lot of changes. It's predictable.
Be happy.
Yeah, stuff happens, I guess, only at Mania. That's why they charge you $20,000 for a ticket.
Oh, by the way, I will be wrestling on April 19th in St. Basil, so I will not be there for the WrestleMania post-show. Day 1, at least. Just to give you the heads up on that.
Cool. Go see Johnny wrestle, skip WrestleMania.
Well, Rob Kloos is actually skipping WrestleMania to watch me already. He's already confirmed it, so yeah, that's happening.
That's the move. Okay, we didn't do a post-show for AEW Revolution because it was on a Sunday night, and we both have things to do on Monday mornings, and AEW just goes way too late. Overall, score on 10, John, just as an overview of this pay-per-view. I want to get that from you. I'm just going to give a quick recap of what happened. Hangman Page beat MJF. Mercedes Moné defended her title against Momo Watanabe. Swerve Strickland beat Ricochet to become the number 1 contender for the world title. Okada defended his Continental title against Brody King. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin defended the tag titles against the Outrunners. Timeless Toni Storm defended her women's world title against Mariah May. Kenny Omega beat Konosuke Takeshita to become the new AEW International Champion. Will Ospreay beat Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. And Jon Moxley beat Edge and Christian in what turned out to be a triple threat match to retain the AEW World title. Overall, Johnny, score on 10 for this pay-per-view. What do you think?
Well, just remember, this isn't counting I didn't watch the pre-show. I don't know if you caught the pre-show or not.
No, I did not.
Okay, so I'm not including that, but apparently I heard the pre-show was really good. I don't know if you heard about what happened at the pre-show or...
I heard Big Boom AJ was there eating chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. I think I caught like the tail end of that or something. I caught like just the last like minute or two. I mean, that was what it was, like kind of ridiculous. It was kind of cool. The Rizzler dressed up as Orange Cassidy. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
That was about the highlight of that, I thought.
Okay.
But apparently the match for that on the pre-show, Hologram had a match. I want to say it was like a...
Commander and Hologram beat Lee Johnson and Blake Christian. I don't know who they are at all.
Well, ROH guys, pretty much.
Okay.
But apparently I heard that was a very good match. So I actually probably will go back and watch that because I've heard good reviews about that. And something happened with Jericho too. Like we saw it a bit on Dynamite. Like he took away a mask, Gravity's mask, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because his parents were at ringside, and like Jericho jumped him, and Bandito, I think. Did he take both their masks or something like that happened?
I'm not sure. He's got some masks. So now, with Gravity without a mask, is he now anti-gravity? What's his story?
I thought he'd be no gravity, but
no
okay.
Gravity.
Anti-gravity's not bad too, actually.
Yeah, I think he's anti-gravity, which is almost better than gravity.
I thought Jericho was trying to do a thing like with Ray. Remember, like when he took Ray's mask and like it's his now, and like he can wear the mask because it's his kind of thing. I thought he was gonna do something like that because like the way he was holding up the mask, like it was his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna do that or not, but I thought maybe he might possibly do that. But going back to your original question of like what score on 10?
Yeah.
Kind of got sidetracked. I thought up to the cage match, I'm like, this might be one of the highest rated pay-per-views. But it didn't end at the cage match, sadly. So I'd go 8 on 10.
Yeah. I'm going to give it exactly the same. I think it was an 8 on 10 pay-per-view. Very good. Great matches. But then the main event was kind of flat.
But, I mean, probably the best pay-per-view I've seen this year, I would say. Because, like, wow, those matches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know it's early. Yes, it's early. Sure.
Yeah,
but, like, wow. Like, from, like, right when you start with MJF and Hangman, like, pretty much up till you got to that cage match, I was like, this is very good. Like, well worth my money. No question.
It was very good. Some matches were better than others, though. I felt like Hangman MJF, Tony Storm, Mariah May, Kenny Omega and Takeshita, Swerve and Ricochet, and Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher were the 5 matches that stood out among the however many there were on this pay-per-view. 1, 2, 3,
like 8 or 9?
6, 7, 9. Yeah. I thought those 5 were like classic matches. They were exceptional. You know, some of the best matches you will see all year. And very hard to pick which one was the best among those 5. Incredible. Like, I didn't love Mercedes and Momo. I was like, whatever. I thought Okada and Brody King was not the best. Was what it was.
It served its purpose, I thought, that match.
What did you think of Mercedes and Momo?
I actually thought it was a very good wrestling match. Hard hitting. I love that kick to the throat that she gave her. Like, Momo gave to Mercedes. I was like, wow, I'm interested in this. And this is, I think, a criticism of most of the matches. Like, I think the match would have been better if it was maybe 5 minutes shorter, or maybe even less than 5 minutes. Like, that felt like it just went a little too long. I can say that about a bunch of matches, but it was still good for what you saw.
Yeah, but the show opening with Hangman and MJF, like, that match was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, even time length, that didn't drag. That was the best opening match you could have on the show, I think.
And it was longer than Sasha Banks' match.
Yeah, it definitely didn't feel like it, though.
Nope. No, it didn't. It was fantastic. Excellent match. Hangman wins in the end. Just fantastic. And you know it's not over. We saw MJF on Dynamite this week. He says it's not over between him and Hangman. He did a promo in the ring. MVP showed up and kind of offered his services to get him back to the top. He likes MJF. Maybe MJF will join the Hurt Business Syndicate, Locker, whatever they're called, with Bobby Lashley and Shelton. That'd be fun to see him with those guys. They all wear suits. It works already. They're halfway there.
And he went pow to the mirror. You remember that? MJF? It was before the promo, actually.
Yeah. What does it have to do with anything?
He was angry at Hangman. And then didn't he have the confrontation with Hangman after the promo?
Yeah. We're talking about Hangman. Yeah, he's still mad at Hangman. He wants revenge on Hangman. He's not done with the Hangman. And I think, Hangman and MJF is going to be one of those things that we'll see for many years going forward in AEW. They're setting themselves up pretty nicely with Hangman and MJF feuding, and Swerve now is a number 1 contender, and Will Ospreay cutting the promo this week saying, Cope has got a match with Moxley next week. And then Swerve is the number one contender. He's going to wrestle Mox at Dynasty, but I want a world title shot. So when's it going to be? And then he says it's going to be at All In, and I'm going to win the Owen Hart Cup, and then get a title shot at All In, and he'll take the belt then. And that's an interesting possibility with Will Ospreay as champion. Like, they have so many of their top players now in the game going towards the world title that it does feel like a matter of time before Moxley is dethroned and we can kind of move on from this whole thing and we could get to the real business at hand in AEW, which is Swerve, Hangman, MJF, Will Ospreay, Darby Allin when he comes back. Like, these are the people, Kenny Omega, that you want to see in the mix, in the main event. And with the right execution, they could really have some incredible pro wrestling over the next several years with the talent that they have. It's really exciting to see what they're doing and what the possibilities are, especially now that I feel like the booking is heading in the right direction. We're still not quite where we need to be, but it feels like we're getting there. Right? Didn't it feel good after Revolution? Like, Hangman beat MJF. Like, okay, that's fine. That's going to continue. That's something. Swerve won the big match, not Ricochet, which is good. I like Ricochet a lot. I thought him and Swerve, by the way, we're both giving it an 8 out of 10. I think we'll differ on who we gave the match of the night to, because I thought Swerve and Ricochet had the best match. I thought their match was incredible. I loved it.
Well, until the cage match happened, it was, I thought, the best match. It's just, the cage match was everything. And not to say Ricochet and Swerve wasn't fantastic, because I thought it was a very good match. Like, incredible what they pulled off. Again, a match I felt a little bit too long at some points, but still very good. There's just some points I felt like the crowd was kind of dying a little bit. But again, not the worst thing to happen. Like, still very good. And like what they pulled off, and like that vertebraker on the table, that looked like that killed. That Death Valley driver, like right on his face, some scary. Like, they really went all out, and I'm not surprised that Swerve apparently is injured after this match, because it's incredible that they're not hurt after that.
Yeah, they really left it all out there, and the bumps that they took, the head drops, and everything that they were doing to each other, it was just vicious. And I liked what Ospreay and Fletcher did, but it felt like it was a different style of violence. It was bloody, it was big flips, it was like big stunts, but like Swerve and Ricochet were just like dropping each other nasty, just nasty drops, and it's just it felt more dangerous in a way,
I agree with you, but that Styles, well, we'll get into the cage thing, but that Styles Clash and that Spanish Fly, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I can't top that. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Ospreay does things where you go, no, there's no way he's going to do that. And then he does it. And you go, oh, he didn't die. It's crazy. No one died.
There was that moment, especially when on top of the cage, I'm like, uh-oh. And then I realized, like, wow, like, and you could probably notice it more after Monday, like, those cages look really tall in AEW. I don't know what it is. Like, I guess maybe because they have more of a platform so they can stand a bit better. But it looks really high up there for them. Like, I was more impressed that they were able to pull that off because of the height.
That Spanish Fly off the top was ridiculous.
Again, I was a little scared because there was a little bit of a moment where it was like, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And then it's like Scalper even said on commentary, everyone just breathed like a sigh of relief right there that they survived. Even though it looked like Ospreay totally messed up his hip doing that because he landed all his weight on it. So, again, like, hats off to him to do that move, because that probably took more out of him than it should have.
It was an incredible match. I'm guessing that's your match of the night.
Cage match, without question, just because, like, again, like, nothing could top that. And the thumbtacks, like, the way he landed on those thumbtacks, I was like, that has to be the finish right there. Like, one, his ball sack, like, must be covered, like, in thumbtacks. His face must be covered in thumbtacks, directly and driven hard on the thumbtack. I was surprised Fletcher was able to get up after that.
Yeah.
Kudos to him to do that, too. Like, that's a lot of crazy stuff they pulled off in that match.
Patrick Deneau says AEW Revolution was amazing. I give it 8.5 on 10. At least 5 great matches. Yeah. And I had a blast. Was just a little too long as usual, and I don't mind the finish to the main event. Yeah, it was what it was. Chris Topsy says 8 out of 10 is fair. Cage match should have been last, but solid show. Yeah. Really good show. Cage match was good. Kenny and Takeshita was really good. Kenny became the new international champion. Kenny is so good. My God.
What I think was impressive about this was that Kenny can still do the match that he could always do in the past. Like, that was something I was kind of concerned about. Like, has he lost a step? But it didn't look like that. Like, we saw in the tag match, he was still pretty good. But again, that's a tag match. This is he's got to go himself. And they went, 30 minutes in this match too?
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot for him to pull off, but he did it. And he didn't look like it was sluggish for him at all. So I think that was the most impressive thing about it.
Kenny is great, and now they got a tournament to determine who will face Kenny at the next one, Dynasty, because Kenny's the new champion, and they're doing a tournament to face Kenny. This week, Orange Cassidy beat Hechicero and Speedball Mike Bailey. Montreal wrestler made his AEW debut, defeating the Beast Mortos in the quarterfinals. And now he'll be in the semifinals against Orange for a shot in the finals. And then the winner of the tournament goes on to face Kenny Omega for the International Championship at Dynasty. Katsuyori Shibata and Ricochet and Mark Briscoe and Mark Davis will be the other quarterfinal matches in this tournament to face Kenny, the new champion. Mike Bailey, John. You've wrestled him, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I've wrestled him before a couple of times. I thought he looked very good in the match against Mortos.
Yeah.
But his tan looked pretty good too. Like, not only did he execute like pretty cool moves, but he also like took a tremendous like grill press right off the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was bumping and he was taking, like he was given too. So I thought very good showing, and he ended the show too as well. If I'm not mistaken. Like he came out at the end, so they kind of made him to a huge deal. I don't think he's going to win. I believe it's a 4-way next time around for him. And
Orange
I think
Cassidy ended the show. Mike Bailey was like midway through the show. What are you talking about?
Mike Bailey came out after the match was over. After Orange Cassidy won, Mike Bailey came out.
Oh, right. After the Orange Cassidy match. And he looked at Orange because he's setting up the... Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about his match. I was like, what?
No. Like... Though I thought it was a better match, to be honest. I think that match, if that was the main event, I wouldn't have had a problem with it whatsoever, but it wasn't. But still, they fade to black on him. I think that was a good showing for him. And I believe it's a 4-way in the second round.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he's going to lose, but I don't think he's going to win. I think Ricochet is going to go on to face Kenny, I think, at Dynasty. I think it is right.
Yeah. That does make sense for Ricochet to do it right now, but like I like Ricochet and I like what he's doing, but I don't know. Mike Bailey, he's new. He's fun. I'd give him a push to Kenny. Let him have a little run, win the 4-way, face Kenny at Dynasty, have an incredible match, come close, but lose. Because I think that's a better move for Mike Bailey and the introduction of Mike Bailey to the AEW audience than just having him win a match against the Beast Mortos and then be in a 4-way but not even, factor into the finish of the 4-way, where you're just kind of on the sidelines while somebody else gets pinned, like Mark Davis or Mark Briscoe gets pinned by Ricochet, and you and Orange Cassidy are just doing other things. Like, he's a new guy in AEW. Why not give him a bit of a push to start? Like, this is why they can't really make stars, is because they don't give you anything really meaningful when you start out with the company. They just give you, one win, and then it's like, oh, now you're just one of the guys. Like, literally, that's what's going to happen to Mike Bailey. One win, nice debut, and then the next week or two, you're in a 4-way, you're just one of the guys, you lose, you don't even factor into the finish, you're not really featured in the match, and you're not on pay-per-view. So what's the point of signing a guy like that? What's the point of signing somebody new if you're not going to try and make him into a star? If you're not going to try and elevate him? If you have him win the 4-way, all of a sudden it's like, oh, who's this new guy that's like pretty cool and he's winning matches and, oh, he's facing Kenny at the pay-per-view? That's interesting. Maybe they'll give him the belt. Maybe they're giving him a push. And then he has a good little match with Kenny. It's very exciting. It steals the show. He loses, but it's fine because he's wrestling Kenny Omega. You don't lose much by losing to Kenny. Kenny shakes your hand after the match. It's a nice babyface on babyface match. Kenny has his first title defense under his belt. I think that's better than Kenny beating Ricochet in what will be another incredible match. Because, who's wrestling Kenny and not having a great match at this point? But, Ricochet is great too. But he just lost to Swerve. I don't want to see Ricochet in this new character that's good and working and finally over. When you finally get over, you finally have a character and a promo that works, you lose in back-to-back pay-per-views to Swerve and Kenny? That kind of kills you off. I don't want to see Ricochet win this thing. I don't want to see Orange wrestle Kenny. I don't really see a point to that. Mark Briscoe and Mark Davis, come on. I think it should be Mike Bailey. I think that's the move. We'll see what they do. I think it's going to be Orange or Ricochet. Probably Ricochet. I think it should be Shibata or Mike Bailey. Because Shibata's wrestling Ricochet. It'd be fun if Shibata won and then Shibata went on to face Kenny. That'd be cool. Do that. Or give it to Bailey. But I think it should be Mike Bailey.
Well, Shibata did have the stare down with Kenny. So they did kind of tease something. So it's not as far-fetched as you might think, actually.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
And if they give it to Bailey, sure, that's fine. It's not what I'm expecting to have happen. I expecting he's going to get screwed over or something. That'll lead to his pay-per-view match. But I mean, that's fine too. Like you said, it's a great match. Do it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I'd rather him with a pay-per-view win, but I mean, if they make him look good with Kenny, that's fine too, actually.
I think they should do that, but we'll see. And of course, the Timeless One, our champion, the number one women's wrestler on the planet today, had another incredible match with Mariah May. So bloody. So bloody. They were both bleeding like crazy. Tony more, but Mariah was bleeding quite a bit too. Tony's whole face was just covered in blood. And as she put it on Dynamite, she had stitches in her lip, staples in her head, and glass in her ass.
There's a lot of glass in that ring that they were just bumping all over in. So, yeah, and her legs were just red. All red.
It was crazy.
Great match. Great, crazy match that you'll probably never see again. But that was a good way to end their rivalry, I think. And it was. I like the whole, the end and all that they did. That was really well done.
Yeah. I liked it too. I like everything that Toni Storm and Mariah May are doing. Toni Storm's promo this week was great. Like, she's so good at everything. She says, no one swings like Toni Storm. So, ladies, put your keys in the bowl and let's get this started, calling out all the women in the division, but also saying some saucy things. It's just, she's just great. And then Megan Bayne attacked Toni Storm, so I guess that's what's next for Toni. But I think her and Mariah May are going to continue for years and years. I think that's not over. It will continue, but in the meantime, we'll see Mariah May. We'll see Megan Bayne, and we'll see whoever else. I think Toni was maybe calling out Mercedes Moné a little bit. I think Mercedes versus Toni might be the move. All in?
Well, she was talking about all the titles, right? So, yeah, the kind of situation maybe that could happen where it's champion versus champion. But I also feel Mercedes is going in her own direction because she's feuding with somebody else who's connected with another champion. So I feel like they might be going that direction with Mercedes.
Who's she feuding with now?
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, next week, because she did the promo against her, she's going to be facing Billy Starks.
Oh, yeah.
And she's connected with Athena, who's the ROH champion, women's champion. And she's from Texas. All In is in Texas. So I think that's the match they're probably going to do for Mercedes, I think.
Okay.
So Toni, I don't know. Like, who would Toni face at All In if it's not Mercedes?
Mariah again.
Again? I don't know. There's got to be somebody else.
Megan the Bane.
Are we going to wait that long for that? Like, because we got Dynasty April 6th, which is actually not too far away. And then we will have Double or Nothing before we get to All In.
No idea.
Someone's got to step up. That's it.
Yeah. They don't really have a big match for Toni Storm. That's why when Megan Bayne showed up, I was like, okay. I don't know. She's new. Right up to Toni Storm. It's like, why? And Megan Bayne is I guess she's a heel with Penelope Ford, right? Wasn't there that whole debacle with the Thunder Rosa? Total debacle.
That happened, yes. And I think it's more than likely what they're doing because they kind of build her up a bit, Megan Bayne. So I think maybe they're done with it and get her out of the way kind of thing. And we have, again, a pay-per-view coming up in a few weeks. So you have Toni a match and then on to the next. I think that's what's going to happen, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. You think Swerve wins the title at the next pay-per-view?
See, like I thought so, and then Ospreay cut that promo about winning the Owen Hart tournament, and then I'm like, well, maybe they'll keep it on Moxley just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Wait and see. I mean, it would be nice for Swerve to win because I mean, last year he won the title Dynasty. It makes it his thing that he just wins the title there all the time. That'd be kind of cool. But you got a bunch of contenders now, it looks like, going for the title. You got Ospreay, you got MJF, you got Hangman as well. Like, there's a bunch of potentials right there. I can see a big match at Double or Nothing, a four-way at Double or Nothing or something.
Yeah. There's a lot of players now in the main event scene in AEW. Johnny North, when can people see you in the ring? When's your next one?
So it's going to be March 29th, the last Saturday of March. I'll be at John Abbott going for the Mad Dog Heavyweight Championship in a tournament. So that's the plan, March 29th. And then April 11th, I'll be back in Sudbury, teaming up with Gangrel and the Beast King against Solo Min and two other guys in a big match. I guess we're going to be called the New Brood, something like that. So
wow,
should be a lot of fun.
Gangrel, brother. That's cool. Well, there you go. Follow Johnny on all the things at North Genesis, at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram, at North Genesis on the X. And you'll get all the info for that on there. Thank you to Doug Hepburn. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you to Doug and Patrick Deneau. And I saw Leor in here. All the supporters of the Ringside Report Network. Antoinette. everybody supporting over at join.ringsidereports.net and donate.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll be back with Freddie and AJ Thursday night for Ringside Report MMA. Nothing this weekend. As a matter of fact, I have nothing for the rest of the month of March on the weekend. Like, the weekends are empty. UFC and WWE. No WWE pay-per-view or live event or whatever, premium live event till WrestleMania. And nothing from the UFC until, like, no pay-per-view from the UFC on the weekend till UFC 314 April 12th. So, nothing on the weekends. But we'll be back every Thursday and Friday. And again, next week, a little early for the wrestling show here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again.